start off with the Jon Benet Ramsey case. Beth, you've been following that from the get-go, and wow, 20 years. What's your thoughts on this story?
Well, first of all, it will never be solved. And I think that if things were done differently in the very first days and weeks, that it may have been solved. There may have been an arrest. And, of course, we know now since 2013, when the grand jury records were unsealed and released, that the grand jury had voted an indictment against Jon and Patsy Ramsey, not for murder, but for other lesser crimes, but related to the abuse of their child, because there was evidence of chronic physical abuse, not just an acute one-time sexual assault. And it's the charge, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like child abuse resulting in death, but it wasn't a murder charge. Anyway, DA Alex Hunter at the time did not sign the indictment or didn't file it. He chose not to.
And Alex, this is 20 years later, and some people still point fingers at the mother. What's your take?
Yeah, I'm one of those people that still point fingers at the mother. I mean, I'm surprised that some, investigative body so-called cleared them. I mean, if you have parents or one of the parents that's engaged in persistently abusing their child over a long period of time, abuse here, abuse there, some other type of damage, these are exactly the type of people that could end up killing their own child. And in addition to that, this whole business about, the note, remember there was a note found supposedly all over the stairways, saying they want to, the kidnappers wanted $118,000. And that pen that was used to write that note came from, Patsy Ramsey's room. To me, there's too much suspicion that she was actually involved in this. And on top of that, your child is missing, and they don't search the entire house. That's why they waited 2 or 3 hours or whatever it was until the police came, and they finally found the body in one of the rooms in the house, and that's a room they didn't search. Now, if you have a child, and I've got 2, and one of them's missing, I'm going to search every inch of that house, and I'm going to search every inch outside the house. The fact that they didn't search one of the rooms, to me, is an absolute red flag. She's a prime target. And personally, if you ask me, I think she did it.
Another huge stumbling block, Alex and Jordan, was that there wasn't a good relationship between the DA's office and the Boulder Police Department. They did not work together. The Boulder Police Department needed to rule out Patsy and Jon Ramsey. They needed questions answered, and the DA's office, at least from the perspective of the police, stonewalled them. Wouldn't even allow them to subpoena the phone records of the Ramseys. Things are so routine. They wouldn't approve. They wouldn't sign warrants and subpoenas. So it really tied the hands of the police in doing what is very routine stuff in an investigation. The 2 offices did not work well together. I don't care what anyone says. They did not.
Yeah, Beth, can I ask you, what could possibly be the justification for the DA blocking a legitimate investigation by the police?
You'd have to ask his office. He had a couple of supervisors or people right under him who all became very close to the Ramseys and the Ramsey attorneys. The Ramseys compiled a very highbrow, intense team of lawyers and PR people around them, both in Atlanta and in Colorado, and they were completely shielded from law enforcement. But Alex Hunter and some of his higher people in his office developed a good relationship with the Ramsey attorneys and the Ramseys themselves. It was really ludicrous. It all was eventually exposed, and I don't know. I think the DA's office believed it was an intruder. They believed the Ramseys when they said we didn't do it, and the police were like, no, we don't think it's an intruder. We at least need to get these questions answered before we can rule out the family. So the police were doing their work, and the DA's office ended up doing its own investigation and bringing in an investigator from another jurisdiction within Colorado named Lou Smith to do basically a parallel investigation. And Lou Smith firmly believed in the intruder theory, and he ultimately, prevailed. And when Alex Hunter's successor took office in 2008, well, some years after she took office, she completely exonerated the Ramseys, but Patsy, unfortunately, had passed away 2 years earlier. She passed away in 2006, but John Ramsey, lived to hear that he was no longer ever going to be considered a suspect.